Are we certain that third world countries need our money, our teachers, doctors, or any kind of aid? In many ways, we can help those countries to develop. First of all, we have to achieve public awareness. We have to let our Europeans know there are countries out there that suffer and need our help. We have to set certain developmental goals, and first of all, we have to use our allocated money as a fuel for the growth, so as to achieve the restabilization of their inner infrastructure. By subsidizing money, it is important for us to tone the local economy to aim for an increase in productivity. We have to tone the economy so as to let the suffering people get back on their feet. In an effort, it is also crucial that we provide humanitarian aid. We have to help those people combat the problems of today, resolve poverty, epidemics, and other great problems of the modern world. We have to provide the third countries with knowledge, new prospects of rebuilding themselves. We should not solely focus on keeping the countries in need alive. It is more essential for us to help them regain their independence.
First of all, we emphasize the need to combat language barriers. And we thought of creating separate classes for students and adults to teach them the language of the host country that they've moved to. And that teachers in public schools should volunteer to teach these lessons to the migrants, also teaching them the language and the history to give them a sense of culture of the place that they've arrived in. Helping to give refugees the means to be heard and have a voice in the society that they've moved to will help them integrate and become more into part of the culture that they've moved into. Second of all, we thought of incentivizing firms to make it so that companies have to fill quotas, a sort of affirmative action, if you will. And a certain proportion of the workforce of some companies must come from the minority or a refugee sector to make it so that immigrants and migrants have employment opportunities so that they can be more self-sufficient in the future. Then we moved on to the educational facet of this problem. And we thought of initiating informative campaigns to raise public awareness and change public opinion about the topic. We want to combat the stereotypes and the racism and prejudice and xenophobia which plagues our modern-day society.
If I've understood this correctly, you've actually looked at the question of positive discrimination also in the debate, that we should have something like a quota for refugees, that we should actually be able to employ them. I'd like to know how you're supposed to be doing that. If we have a refugee as a candidate, and let's say a native or someone who's actually long, long time in the same country, let's say they're both applying for a job, would the refugee get the job just to fill the quota, or would the actual native get the job? Because if you are going to be able to employ refugees without the qualifications, I think that's going to lead to a position where people who live there are going to feel that they're at a disadvantage, and that I don't think is going to promote integration. Thank you.
Thank you for your point. You were right, we were suggesting positive discrimination. However, we weren't suggesting neglecting quality of work. We weren't suggesting giving underqualified individuals the positions that qualified individuals deserve. We're just suggesting that people shouldn't be discriminated against because they're from a different background and because they might not necessarily be locals. We're not suggesting that the quota will be filled by making it so that individuals who live in the country don't get a chance for equal employment. However, we're suggesting that foreigners should be given the same chance. For example, if a doctor from Germany arrives in Cyprus, my country, they should be given an equal opportunity to find work and have enough patients as a doctor from Cyprus. And then again, the quality of the person's work, their education will also play a role in their employment, not necessarily just the quotas that we're trying to establish through this piece of legislation. Thank you.